The sky was dead above Earth, no birds, no satellites, just black ash swirling through clouds. Like the ghosts of a civilization that once dared to dream, towering cities stood broken, melted by alien fire, their glass bones shattered across the ground. Machines that once hummed with life now lay silent, covered in frost and blood. Nothing moved. Not even the wind dared speak through the silence. The invaders walked slowly through what remained of New York, their alien boots crunching glass underfoot. Their tall, twisted frames glowed with sickly blue light, armor pulsing with living veins. They laughed in their sharp language, mocking the weakness of mankind, pointing at the skeletons fused into buildings, whispering that Earth was easy prey. One of them raised a claw to the sky and declared the planet cleansed, nothing left, no survivors. Just a dead world to be harvested for its metals, its water, its bones beneath their feet. Deep in the Arctic, frozen past reach of time, a hidden door trembled. It had been buried before the first bombs fell, protected by layers of ice and deception. No alien scans could detect it. It was not a base, not a lab. It was a vault containing the last gamble of a desperate species. Inside the chamber, red lights began to glow softly, one by one, illuminating thick glass pods lined in perfect rows. Steam hissed as ancient systems whirred back to life, and the walls echoed with the sound of awakening hearts. Monitors pulsed, displaying data brainwaves. Muscle integrity, memory locks. Outside, the wind screamed as if sensing what was coming. Within one pod, a figure stirred, his skin pale as snow, but beneath it power waited, eyes still closed, chest rising and falling. His name was not remembered, but his designation was known across old files. Prototype 1, soldier of last resort, enhanced to fight not for victory, but for vengeance. His mind flickered alive as the system spoke in a low female voice, confirming total human extinction, verifying zero civilian response, activating protocol, vengeance priority override granted. With a slow creak, his eyes opened, glowing silver. No fear, no confusion, only purpose. He clenched his fists as the fluid inside drained and the glass rose upward. Alarms began to pulse across the walls, awakening others. Each pod lit up like stars across a frozen sky. Soldiers from every region, every culture, every lost war began to breathe again. They did not know peace, they did not remember love, they only knew the final order: defend humanity at all costs, even in death. Above the ground, the aliens picked up an anomaly energy spike from the north, dismissed it as old world static, until one turned and felt a tremor, the snow shifting, the sky cracking, a sound like thunder rolling beneath the crust of the world. The commander ordered a scan, but it was too late. The chamber had awakened, the super soldiers had risen, and Earth had just taken its first breath. In silence, not for peace, not for forgiveness, but for reckoning. And in that silence, one name echoed from the vault: Rook. He stepped forward, bare feet on cold steel, eyes locked on the entrance above, whispering to no one, "They think we are gone, but we are just getting started." The chamber walls pulsed red as the temperature rose, frost melting into vapor. The air was thick with the scent of metal and old blood. The machines hissed and roared as dozens more pods unlocked, hatches slid back, and the super soldiers emerged, each one built for war, their eyes empty of fear, their skin marked with faded symbols from a time long erased by fire. Rook stood at the front, taller than the rest, muscles coiled like steel cables, veins glowing faintly under his pale flesh. His voice echoed in the chamber, flat and calm: protocol, vengeance confirmed, initiate recovery sweep. The others moved instantly, their movements synchronized without hesitation. Years of cryo sleep had not dulled their instincts. They retrieved armor from hidden compartments, suits forged from alloys unknown to the invaders, each one molded to their enhanced bodies. Weapons waited beside the racks, not just guns, but tools of brutal precision: plasma-edged blades, hammers shaped to crush bone, and kinetic rifles designed to melt through tanks. The AI voice returned, speaking softly over the speakers: global scan complete. All civilian signals offline. 99.9% human extinction confirmed. Initiating phase 1. Eliminate all enemy presence within terrestrial range. Rook stared at the central terminal. It displayed the last recorded message from a human satellite barely surviving the invasion. The image crackled with static, but the voice remained clear. It was a woman. She was crying as she held a small child in her arms, her voice shaking as she said, "If you see this, it means we're gone. It means they killed us all, but if you're watching, then maybe you're still alive. And if you are, don't forgive them." Rook watched the screen until it faded to black, his fists clenched. Then he turned to the others, emotionless but driven. "We are not here to survive, we are here to repay every drop of blood." They spilled outside the chamber. The ice cracked again, this time visible from space. Satellites above detected the energy surge. Too late. An alien recon ship hovered above the Arctic, sensing something wrong. Its scanners picked up a power reading not seen before it sent a report back to the mothership. But before it could finish, A beam of energy shot upward, tearing through its hull. It exploded in a shower of blue fire. Rook and his team had breached the surface, moving like ghosts through the snow, their feet silent, their weapons drawn. The sky above burned red as alien drop pods began to fall around them, to slow, to disorganize. The super soldiers were already there. Before the aliens touched the ground, they were ripped from their pods, smashed into the snow, turned to ash by precision strikes. One soldier called. Kai twisted an alien commander's neck with one hand, then used his blade to carve a message into the metal hull of the ship nearby. It read, "We remember." Rook stood over a dying alien, who gasped in terror, his translator stuttering, "Humans extinct. You should be extinct." Rook leaned down, his face expressionless. "We are what comes after extinction." The soldier turned and walked away as the wind carried ash across the snow. The chamber below sealed itself again, locking the records of activation. The soldiers had emerged. The world was changing, and the galaxy had just been warned. Earth was no longer silent. The dead had spoken to the living, and they carried no mercy, only the last command: destroy the invaders, burn their sky, break their throne. We are vengeance, we are the forgotten, we are human. Stars above shimmered cold and distant, unaware that vengeance had already taken root deep in the veins of a ruined world. Rook moved through the wreckage of the alien ship, his boots pressing into the scorched snow while smoke curled around him like the ghosts of the fallen. His team followed, silent and sharp, their eyes scanning every detail. No word spoken, no orders needed. They moved with one mind, honed by code and combat. They had spent lifetimes in frozen sleep, dreaming of war that had finally come. The wreckage hissed and sparked broken metal glowing from the ambush, and among it a survivor crawled, hissing in its alien tongue, eyes wide with terror, its blood a thick green trail across the ice. Rook stepped over the debris and grabbed the creature by the throat, lifting it with one arm as the others surrounded him. The alien begged for life, its translator sputtering static, and then voiced the voice of a coward. "We were ordered the council. They said humans were dangerous, too dangerous. You would never stop expanding, you would never kneel, so they voted to erase you. We followed orders. We followed orders." Rook said nothing, his hand tightened until the creature passed out, and then he dropped it like trash. The soldiers turned their eyes to the sky above because they knew the war was not here. Not on Earth, not anymore. This was just cleanup. The real enemy sat in towers of glass on distant moons, sipping wine while their machines burned cities. A message had to be sent, and it had to be loud. One of the soldiers, named Vega, found the ship beacon still functional. She tapped into it, her fingers dancing over the interface until the comm light blinked red. "Ready." She looked at Rook. He nodded. "Send the message." 5 words that carried the weight of a dead species. "We are not extinct yet." The signal shot into the void, passing stars and dust until it reached alien relays and council monitors across the galaxy in distant places where the rich and powerful feasted on stolen luxuries. A chill passed through them as those words repeated again and again. Screens flickered, reports scrambled. The council gathered in panic, wondering how anything could survive the purge. They had used forbidden weapons, erased continents, drowned cities, shattered the sky, and still something lived, something angry, something human. Rook and his team took the captured data cores from the ship, reading files stolen, plans, hidden logs of betrayal. They saw how their own allies had turned Earth over in exchange for technology, promises of safety, lies dressed as diplomacy. One file showed a child, a human girl, maybe 10, strapped to a table, her skin cut open for research, her screams recorded for study. Rook stared at the screen, his jaw tight, his hand trembling. Then he crushed the tablet in his palm. The team knew they would not just avenge. They would punish, one outpost at a time, planet by planet, until every last one who touched humanity suffered tenfold. Rook turned to them, his voice low but powerful. "Ready." The others nodded. No cheers, no speeches, only purpose. The recon team had delivered their message. The galaxy would soon learn what it meant to awaken the last humans, and this time they would not be caught sleeping again. Their path was clear. Burn every lab, silence every council, and erase every memory of those who dared believe Earth would die in silence, because now the soldiers of the Arctic chamber walked the stars, and they were bringing the stormlight filled the chamber of the Galactic Council. As hundreds of alien species gathered around a great circular table, voices rising in panic, eyes darting across displays, showing the message that kept repeating, "We are not extinct yet." Screens blinked warnings, reports from recon squads, missing relay stations, silent outposts gone dark. There was silence for a breath, and then chaos again. An elder creature with long silver tendrils struck the table, shouting, "This cannot be. They were wiped. We voted, we ensured their end." Another counselor whispered, "But what if the Arctic chamber was real? What if the legends were not myths? What if humanity prepared for this?" The head of the council leaned forward, his face hidden beneath shadows, and said in a calm voice, If even one of them survived, we must erase them before they remind the galaxy what humans are capable of. Rook stood aboard a captured enemy cruiser looking down at the surface of the next target, an alien base that had stored human DNA for experiments. It was surrounded by walls and guards, but none of it mattered. The super soldiers had upgraded their armor, fused it with stolen tech cloaks made from distortion fields, weapons enhanced with antimatter shells. The team moved like thunder through the atmosphere, landing without sound, breaking into the base like ghosts made of knives. Guards screamed only once before silence returned. Rook found the chamber deep inside, filled with tanks, rows of them, each holding a human organ, a limb, a skull labeled tag, studied as if they were artifacts, not pieces of people. His hands shook with fury. He grabbed the nearest scientist, a thin creature with too many eyes, and threw him across the room, demanding why. The answer came through blood-stained teeth. Humans adapt, humans evolve. Too fast, too dangerous. You were never meant to exist. Rook stared at the tanks and then gave the order, burn it. All the base lit up in seconds, explosions dancing in the night sky like fireworks for the dead. They did not take prisoners, they left symbols carved into the ground for drones to find. The ancient symbol of Earth, black and scorched into alien steel. Back on the cruiser, Kai showed Rook intercepted communications. The Council was deploying elite units, special assassins enhanced to kill, enhanced like them. Rook looked at the data and smiled. Finally a challenge. The soldiers did not retreat, they advanced further, using wormhole jumps stolen from enemy tech. Moving from system to system like shadows of revenge, they struck supply chains, disrupted meetings, hijacked transmissions, spreading their message: you cannot kill us, we are the memory you fear. In the dark they found a hidden station orbiting a red dwarf, filled with files on the day Earth fell, video logs showing Allied fleets standing down while the enemy launched their final wave. Humanity had been betrayed, not just attacked, but sold. Rook watched every file and then erased them all from the system. Before destroying the station itself, he did not want proof, he wanted justice. And justice was never clean. The soldiers regrouped in deep space, resting only for hours. They did not sleep like before. They shared memories, downloaded images of Earth before the fall, beaches, cities, mountains, children running in fields. These were not just warriors. They were the last dream of a dead world, and that dream had teeth. The galaxy was learning too late what it meant to make humans extinct, because humans never stayed dead. They adapted, they evolved, and when they returned they did not come to forgive. They came to end everything that dared stand where humanity once felt. War Council hovered above the central moon, a fortress carved into stone and fire, ancient beyond reckoning, protected by the best weapons of the galaxy. Towering turrets circled the sky like beasts of metal, ready to devour anything that came close. Inside the chamber, the highest leaders argued over what to do with the awakening of humanity. Their voices sharp with fear hidden behind pride. They sent warnings to every system, ordered alerts, increased, demanded sightings, verified, but nothing helped. One by one the systems fell silent, and now they feared what might come next. Their fears were answered faster than they could predict. Above their heads, a ripple tore through the sky like a scar, and from it descended a black ship forged from stolen alien tech combined with human rage. It crashed through the shields as if they were smoke. Alarms screamed across the council chamber as the floor shook and walls cracked. Figures poured from the ship covered in dark armor, moving like shadows made of vengeance. Rook led the charge, his eyes burning silver, his fists holding twin blades glowing with fury. The guards came running, elite warriors, trained for decades, armed with weapons that could level mountains, but they were too slow, too unsure, too alive. The super soldiers danced through them like fire, cutting them down without effort, every movement precise, every strike deadly. The council tried to flee, ordering escape pods, but the exits were sealed. Rook had hacked them before landing. He wanted them trapped, cornered, forced to face what they tried to erase. He kicked down the final door into the inner chamber, where the council huddled like frightened children. The leader stood tall, trying to remain calm, his voice trembling. "You are a mistake, a leftover. We ended your kind." Rook stepped forward, his armor scorched, his face emotionless. "You ended the innocent, not us. We were built for what comes after. You feared us before, now you will understand why." The leader reached for a weapon, a hidden spike of plasma built into the floor, but Rook was faster. In one motion, he pinned the alien to the wall, holding his blade against the creature's throat. The council begged for mercy, shouted about politics, survival, fate. Rook looked at them and said, "You chose power over peace. You chose silence over screams. Now listen to what silence truly is." He raised his blade, ready to finish it all, but something in him paused. A memory flickered, a sound, laughter from a world lost, a child smiling at the sea. He lowered the weapon, not in mercy, but in judgment. "Lock the doors," he said to his team, "and plant charges. They are going to learn what it means to burn from within." His soldiers obeyed, planting explosives in the core of The station they took nothing, they needed nothing. The last thing the council saw was the flash of blue light as Rook and his team vanished through the jump gate. The station cracked, exploded from within, fire reaching the heavens. A signal burst from the debris, a warning sent too late to every corner of the galaxy. Do not awaken what you buried. Do not think death is the end. Do not forget humanity, because humanity never forgets, and it never forgives. The bloodstorm had begun, and Earth had just taken its first victory in a war that would echo forever. The explosion lit up the void like a second sun. The War Council station was gone, consumed by flames and shattered steel fragments, scattered across the stars, silent now, but the sound of vengeance still echoed through the systems. Those who once mocked humanity now whispered warnings. Across encrypted channels, rumors spread of silver-eyed demons born in the Arctic cold of Earth. Whispers told of soldiers who did not bleed, who did not beg, who did not stop. And yet, far from the ruins, inside the super soldier cruiser, Rook sat alone, his hands resting on a console showing the names of the fallen, names of cities, names of children, names of everything they lost. The others were quiet, each in their own place, recovering from the fire of battle, but it was not victory. They felt it was something else, heavier, sharper. Rook stared at a frozen image, a human child smiling, holding a flower outside a school that no longer existed. He closed his eyes and spoke quietly to the AI voice. Status report. The AI responded. The Galactic Council has collapsed, major systems in panic, border fleets retreating, humanity registered as active threat level maximum. Rook stood slowly and made his way to the chamber where the last secret was kept. A hidden vault within the ship opened only by his code. Inside were capsules, small, fragile, each glowing faint blue. Within them were human embryos saved by a rebel scientist who betrayed the council before the purge. Rook stared at the sleeping forms, tiny faces, unaware of the war outside, unaware they were the last seed of Earth hope. Wrapped in silence, Kai entered the room, his voice low. You think we can protect them? Rook looked up, his voice steady. We will, we do not fail. Kai nodded, then held up a chip. We found this in the core files before the station. Blue coordinates, deep space past known maps. Rook took the chip and inserted it. The projection showed a facility, blacker than space, hidden behind a shattered moon. A facility labeled as the true architect of the extinction plan, not the council, not the vote, but a single hidden entity, one that built the virus, that softened human minds before the final attack, one that watched and studied even as Earth burned. Rook clenched his jaw. This ends with them. He turned to the rest of the team, who had gathered silently, drawn by instinct, drawn by purpose. Prepare, the embryos will stay hidden, the cruiser will remain cloaked. We go alone. The others nodded. They did not speak of odds, they did not question the plan. They were born for moments like this, the final mission, the true target. As the ship prepared for jump, Rook took one last look at the sleeping children and whispered, "Live, grow, remember who you are." Then he turned back to the stars, his eyes filled not with fire, but with something stronger, the will to protect, to finish what was started, to make sure the galaxy knew that even in the face of extinction, humanity chose to rise again, not as conquerors, not as victims, but as guardians of what was lost and what would be rebuilt. The fire of memory now burned brighter than ever, and its light would guide them into the heart of darkness where the real enemy waited, unaware that the storm was already coming. Silent, sharp, human, and unstoppable. Stars stretched endlessly above as the super soldier cruiser broke through the final veil of space darkness, revealing the hidden facility carved into the shattered moon's jagged surface. The ship glided silently toward the cold fortress, where secrets darker than any war awaited. Inside, the crew moved with practiced efficiency, preparing weapons, checking systems, but their eyes held something deeper, a promise, a pact born from centuries of pain and sacrifice. Rook stood at the helm, the weight of humanity resting on his shoulders, not just the past, but the future in his grasp. The embryos safely sealed behind layers of defense, a new generation sleeping quietly, waiting to awaken when the time was right. The beacon was ready, a signal designed to reach the surviving humans scattered across distant worlds, hiding in shadows, fearing extinction. But now with hope, a call to return to Earth, to reclaim what was theirs. The galaxy had heard the warnings. Rumors of the awakening beasts had spread like wildfire, every corner buzzing with fear and respect. The legends of humanity's resilience were no longer stories, but threats. Every alien council trembling at the mention of the name Rook, and his soldiers prepared for the final chapter, not just revenge, but rebirth. Their mission clear: rebuild, protect, and awaken the sleeping giant that was humanity. The shattered moon trembled beneath their steps as they infiltrated the enemy's last stronghold. Silence hung thick in the air, memories of betrayal etched into every corridor, but they were not afraid. They carried the strength of all those lost, the fury of a species that refused to die. and the hope of those yet unborn. Deep inside the chamber, they found relics of past horrors, weapons designed to wipe entire planets, records of experiments on human minds, twisted and cruel, but Rook's eyes burned with determination. They would erase every last trace of those who dared to destroy Earth, but not just with violence, with purpose, with the promise that humanity would rise wiser, stronger, and united. At the heart of the fortress lay a control core pulsing with dark energy, the source of the virus that had softened human defenses long ago, the true weapon of extinction. Rook approached carefully, with his team ready for anything, but as he reached out to disable the core, a vision struck him, flashes of Earth's past, moments of peace, laughter, tears, love, all the memories of a world that once was and could be again. He hesitated, not out of doubt, but out of hope. This was not just a war to end, but a chance to begin anew. With that resolve, he activated the core's destruction sequence. The fortress shuddered and began to collapse around them. The team raced against time, dodging falling debris, escaping through tunnels flooded with blinding light. They reached the ship moments before the moon shattered behind them, a final blast sealing the secrets forever. Rook stood at the bridge, watching the ruins fade into dust, his voice steady. We are not just survivors, we are the awakening, the guardians, the future. The soldiers cheered silently for the first time in centuries. There was no war cry, only the quiet strength of a promise kept. The human flag rose once again above the Arctic chamber on Earth. The snow fell gently, covering the scars beneath, but the world was alive again. The stars shone brighter, and the galaxy knew this was only the beginning, because they thought they killed us, but all they did was wake us up. Silence after the storm was deep and heavy, but it was not the silence of defeat, it was the silence of a world holding its breath, waiting for a new dawn. Rook stood alone on the frozen peak, overlooking the vast white wilderness, where once the cities had risen. Now only snow and memories remained, yet in his heart a fire burned brighter than any star, the fire of humanity, the spark that no weapon could ever extinguish. Around him the soldiers gathered, their eyes reflecting the cold light, but their souls burned with warmth, a promise to rebuild, to protect, and to never forget. They had risen from the ashes not as victims, but as legends, a new chapter for a species forged in hardship and hardened by loss. Rook raised his hand, signaling the end of the long journey. A beacon shone in the distance, a call to those lost, scattered among the stars. It was a call home, a call to awaken, a call to remember who they were and what they could become. The galaxy watched in awe and fear as the humans stood tall again, their strength not just in muscle or weapon, but in will, heart, and unbreakable spirit. The world beneath the snow was healing slowly, but with every step taken by the awakened soldiers, hope grew like the first green shoots. After a long winter, the past would not be forgotten, but it would no longer define the future. Rook looked up at the endless sky and whispered a vow for every soul lost, for every dream shattered, for every moment stolen. This was their time, this was their rise. Humanity was no longer a story of extinction, but a legend of awakening. The stars would tell their tale for generations to come. They thought they killed us, but they only woke us up. The end